The fascinating truth. Your body's transformation 1 minute after death. Death is the one thing we all have in common. Yet, it remains one of the biggest mysteries of life. But have you ever wondered what actually happens to your body moments after you take your final breath? Join us as we dive into the rapid changes your body goes through in the first 60 seconds after death. Welcome to Brilliant Thinking. Intrigue your mind. Click that subscribe button so you will never miss out on another amazing video. Let's get started. The moment life leaves the body, a series of fascinating changes begin. Within the first minute after death, the heart stops, ceasing blood circulation. Without oxygen, cells start breaking down, triggering chemical reactions that damage tissues. Muscles lose their tension, causing the body to relax. Skin turns pale as blood settles in the lower parts of the body due to gravity. The body also begins cooling, marking the beginning of its natural decomposition process. These early changes, while rapid, offer significant insight into the intricate processes that occur once life has left the body, initiating the journey of decay. Number 1. Blood pooling, livor mortis. Once the heart ceases to beat, blood circulation halts, and gravity takes over. Without the force of the heart pumping, blood starts to settle in the lower regions of the body. This phenomenon, known as livor mortis, results in blood pooling in the veins closest to the ground. The skin takes on a reddish or purplish hue in these areas due to the increased concentration of blood. This pooling typically begins within minutes of death. The process can be more noticeable in people with lighter skin tones, though it still occurs in everyone. It's often one of the earliest physical signs of death, and forensic experts can use this information to estimate the time of death, especially when examining the body hours later. As the body continues to cool and the blood settles, livor mortis becomes more pronounced. And get this, if someone moves the body before this process finishes, about 6 hours later, the stains will shift. It's one of the ways forensic experts can tell if a body was moved after death. Number 2. Cellular breakdown and chemical release. As the body's vital systems cease to function, cells lose their ability to perform their usual processes. With no oxygen being transported through the bloodstream, cells begin to break down. This leads to a series of chemical reactions where cells release their contents into surrounding tissues, which can cause further damage. Without the oxygen supply, the mitochondria in cells stop producing energy, and the cellular machinery that maintains their structure disintegrates. As a result, the tissues become more susceptible to decay. The release of certain enzymes and chemicals can trigger inflammation, which accelerates the breakdown of the body's internal structures. This process, which begins almost immediately after death, continues until the body has decomposed sufficiently. The breakdown of cells is one of the first stages of the decomposition process that will continue in the hours and days following death. Number 3. Muscle relaxation, primary flaccidity. Immediately after death, one of the first physical changes is the complete relaxation of muscles. This process, known as primary flaccidity, occurs because the body no longer has the electrical impulses needed to maintain muscle tension. Without the signals from the nervous system, all of the body's voluntary and involuntary muscles lose their tone. As a result, the jaw may drop open, the eyelids lose their tension, and the body becomes limp and relaxed. It's during this phase that the sphincters of the body may release, causing urine and feces to pass involuntarily. Muscles in the face are often the first to show signs of relaxation, followed by the limbs and torso. This stage is temporary, as it will be succeeded by rigor mortis, a stiffening of the muscles that begins hours after the initial muscle relaxation. The transition from relaxed to stiff is part of the body's natural process of decay. If you're finding this journey into the unknown fascinating, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay with us as we explore more of life's mysteries and the science behind them. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Number 4. Skin color change, pallor mortis. Another immediate sign of death is the loss of color in the skin. This phenomenon, called pallor mortis, occurs when the blood stops circulating throughout the body. As the heart stops pumping, the blood begins to drain from the surface veins and capillaries. As a result, the skin loses its healthy tone and becomes pale, which is most noticeable in individuals with lighter skin. This process begins within minutes of death and is one of the first visible signs that life has ended. In darker-skinned individuals, the color change may not be as obvious, but pallor mortis still occurs. This color change is temporary, as the body will go through additional stages of decomposition. While pallor mortis is often the first visible sign of death, it is soon followed by the cooling of the body and other changes that signal the end of life and the start of decay. Number 5. Cessation of vital signs. The hallmark of death is the complete cessation of vital signs, including the heartbeat and breathing. Once the heart stops beating, circulation halts, and oxygen can no longer reach the body's organs or tissues. Simultaneously, respiration ceases, and the body's cells are deprived of the oxygen needed for energy production. Within moments of death, the body will no longer have a pulse or rhythm, and the chest will no longer rise and fall with breath. This marks the irreversible transition from life to death. Medical professionals use the absence of vital signs as the primary criterion for determining death. Although some bodily functions may continue for a short time after, such as muscle spasms or reflexes, the complete loss of heartbeat and respiration confirms that death has occurred. In the minutes after death, there is a clear break from the functions that define life. Number 6. Cooling of the body, algor mortis. Once the heart stops beating, the body no longer generates the heat needed to maintain its normal temperature. The process of cooling, known as algor mortis, begins immediately after death. A healthy body's temperature is around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, but after death, the temperature begins to drop. On average, the body cools by about 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit per hour until it reaches the ambient temperature of its surroundings. This decrease in body temperature can be used by forensic scientists to help estimate the time of death, assuming the body has not been exposed to extreme environmental conditions. In a controlled environment, the cooling rate is predictable, but in warmer or cooler settings, it may vary. Algor mortis is one of the first steps in the process of decomposition, and it continues as the body loses its heat. It will ultimately match the temperature of the surrounding environment. Number 7. Muscle stiffening, rigor mortis. After the initial muscle relaxation, the body enters a stage known as rigor mortis, where the muscles begin to stiffen. This occurs due to a chemical reaction in the muscles, where calcium builds up in the muscle fibers and prevents them from relaxing. As a result, the body becomes rigid and stiff, starting with the muscles of the face and neck. Rigor mortis typically sets in within 2 to 6 hours after death, depending on factors such as temperature and the condition of the body. It gradually affects the entire body, including the limbs and torso. This stiffness can last anywhere from 12 to 48 hours before the muscles begin to relax again, as decomposition continues. Rigor mortis is a temporary stage in the body's natural process of decay. It helps forensic scientists estimate the time of death based on how stiff the body is when found. Number 8. Body relaxation, post-rigor mortis. After rigor mortis has reached its peak, the muscles begin to relax once again. This process, which occurs after the first 24 to 48 hours, is caused by the breakdown of muscle tissue during decomposition. As the cells break down and enzymes are released, the stiffness from rigor mortis fades, and the body returns to a more relaxed state. This is a part of the natural process of decay, as the body's tissues continue to break down and disintegrate. The return of flexibility is noticeable in the limbs and joints. While the body is no longer rigid, it becomes more pliable and begins to take on the characteristic signs of decomposition. This stage is marked by the breakdown of soft tissues, leading to further physical changes in the body. The loss of stiffness is one of the final stages of decay before the body continues to decompose over the days and weeks following death. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the mysteries of life and death. If you find this fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss our deep dives into life's biggest mysteries. Also, be sure to check out our other videos for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, the world is full of wonders waiting to be discovered.